going to invite Mark and Julia to share about their experience in Kenya.
As Mark was saying, as you may know from reading Network last year, the PCC approved developing a twinning relationship between St James's Church here and King's Highway Church in Eldoret, Kenya. And this is about St James's Church expanding our vision, looking outward into the wider world. I was at King's Highway Church in March last year, and Julia and I came back a few weeks ago just from a visit in December. This was a visit to take things further, really, and it's an opportunity this morning to report back to you as to our trip. King's Highway Church is a nationally led denomination. It's part of a nationally led denomination, and it's a nationally led church serving the local Kenyan community. It's about 150 people in the congregation, and it's based on the outskirts of Eldoret, just by the side of the main highway. The community the church serves is largely poor. Few people have got regular work. And the pastor, his name's Henry, and they have a couple of services on a Sunday, one in English and followed by one in Swahili. The church has got limited material resources and training, but it's vibrant and it's growing. And we had an amazing time with the church out there. We were really encouraged and blessed and challenged. And as Mark was saying, we've got so much to learn from them, from our Kenyan brothers and sisters. We've got lots to learn about thankfulness and joy, about worship and passion, about perseverance through suffering, about faith and commitment and sacrifice and radical generosity. And of course, we have masses to learn about dancing. We made a little video while we were out there just to try and give you a little bit of a sense of the church, and here it is now, hopefully.
My name is Henry Wedende, pastor of King's Highway Church, Eldoret. I want to say I'm so glad to have received Mark and Julia, who have come from your church, St. James in England. And we have had a good time with them. They have given us wonderful teachings, especially on vision and leadership and kingdom relationships. And we were so blessed to have them here. I want to say that I appreciate so much for their coming, and especially when we have been talking about twinning between these two churches. We want to say that this has been a good start, and we believe that God is going to make it happen. We are looking forward to seeing you and having teams coming here, having a good time with you. And I just want to say thank you so much for having a consideration to have this relationship with us in Africa. And I greet you all, and on behalf of King's Highway Church, receive greetings from Eldoret, Kenya. Thank you so much.
Nehemiah sat down and wept.
Nehemiah alikaa chini akalia.
He wept because the news meant that God wasn't being glorified and honored.
Send your love to St. James Church.
Okay, hopefully that gives you a tiny little bit of a flavour of our trip to Eldoret. I went primarily because Mark went in March and he was so excited about it that I thought if I don't go once, which is what I thought I was going to do, if I don't go once just to find out a little bit about what he's excited about and I can support him every time he goes, I won't really know much about it. I didn't really think that God would grab me so much about it as he did. I really thought that would be it. I would go once. Just a little bit about what we did when we went there. We had a really very full-on schedule. So we spent really 2 whole days teaching in the church. Mark thought on the Saturday he was teaching for an hour. They came to pick us up and told us, and he thought he was only teaching to the leaders. When they picked us up, they told us it was the whole church for the whole day. And on the Sunday, we sort of thought there was a little bit more. So we basically had 2 full days at the church. And the thing that really, really struck me, I mean, there's a lot of differences about church in Kenya, but the thing that really struck me was about how thankful people were, how thankful and joyful they were. And their worship and really their passion for God. I mean, yeah, it's a bit mind-blowing, really was mind-blowing. So we spent 2 days. They cooked because we were there and we were special guests. I think one of the most profound things is we went to visit members of the congregation in their homes because we really wanted to try and build up relationships with people. So as well as meeting the leaders, we really wanted to build relationships with members of the congregation. And the things that really, really struck me was how materially little people had, but how spiritually rich they are. So much richer than me in terms of their spirituality and their dependence on God, because they have really nothing. You know, I can forget about God all week if I want to, but every meal, some of those folk are praying for God to provide that meal. They have no welfare system. They have no health service. If your child gets ill and you don't have the money to pay for the medicines, your child dies. So the actual reality of life there, to me, they really know how to trust God. And that's one of the things that we really asked them when we went to visit them. I'm going to get all of them. I was trying to do this without getting emotional. But one of the things when we went to visit people and we were asking them, what they all said is they really know God's faithful. You know, they just know God's faithfulness and they really know it in their heart. They don't know it as head knowledge. They totally know that God is faithful and that they can depend on God. And I suppose one of the other things, I mean, I could talk for 2-3 hours about this, but the other thing that really, really struck me, and I think we have so much to learn about as well, is our perspective on life. The thing that really saddens me, and I think probably saddens a lot of people, is we live in a culture, especially in the UK, of entitlement. We live in this culture where we feel we are entitled to things. We feel that we are owed things. We live in a culture where we grumble so much. You know, we wait at the doctor for 15 minutes and we complain about it. These folk don't have health care. They have to pay for their children to go to school. And we went to the pastor's house. They have to make a decision about their child's schooling. If they want their 13-year-old to go to high school, their 7-year-old cannot go to school because they don't have money to pay for those school fees. So it was, it blew me away more than I thought it would blown me away, because I work in an area of work where I sort of deal with families all the time. I know I've got to stop now, but I've got 30 more seconds. I'm sure he's wrong on his timing. I deal with families a lot who basically living in tragedy, and I thought I had quite a good perspective, but it really sort of shifted that perspective. I now have to stop talking, so if you want to hear any more from me, you can just come and talk to me.
So as you know already, St James's has lots of links to Eldoret, which is amazing, really. And there's Open Arms, there's the Solomon Project, and I believe that how I ended up in Eldoret and at King's Highway Church, I don't believe that's a coincidence, and I believe that God has a purpose in this, and that's really exciting. And I'm excited to be part of St James's at this time. It really is amazing what God is doing, increasing our faith, our love for Jesus, and our concern for what's on his heart, and increasing our looking outward as well into the community. But also there's a whole world out there beyond the Ribble Valley, and I think God is calling us to do that as well. So I know that as a church we're involved in a lot of projects overseas, and we support a lot of projects abroad, but I think that this is slightly different, and this is an opportunity to take things a step further in actually developing a twinning relationship with King's Highway Church, so that as a church we're learning from our brothers and sisters in a different culture, and in that sharing something of their lives and faith and struggles and joys. So kind of the next step really is that in August we're planning to take a team from church here, from St James's Church, to go over to King's Highway Church in Eldoret with the primary aim of developing relationships and sharing and learning from each other. And the other thing that we're planning to do is on the St James's website is we're going to set up a twinning page on that website so that I can get news from King's Highway Church and put it on that page, stories, information, prayer requests, so that we can continue with that process of building that relationship. So as Julia said, there's so much to say, and we're really excited about this, and we think that both for St James's Church and King's Highway Church, this is a real opportunity to build and grow and share faith together. So come and talk to us. We've got lots to share if you want to hear any more. Thank you.